Ready, break!
All right, Vikings, we are back with another episode of the Viking Huddle, and today we have with us Niles High School teacher, advisor, lady who does everything here, Mrs. Carissa Young. We want to welcome you to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So we're here today because next week is our annual Pink Week celebration, and we kind of wanted to get you on to just talk about maybe some origins of Pink Week and maybe just give the audience some background about it, but then also kind of talk about, all right, well, here's some ways that you can get involved. So can you kind of tell us, how did Pink Week come to be?
Yes. So 15 years ago, we had a club called Drug Free Players. That was pretty sad. And one of my members came with one of her friends and just brought the idea of, let's help our community and let's do something during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's kind of evolved into a community event, not just a high school event. And so it started off really small and just continued to grow each year.
And you mentioned when we were kind of getting our sound check, there were a couple students in particular who kind of were the ones that kind of brought this forth. Do you remember who they were?
Yes. So it's Ashley Reed, it was Bielski, and also Tiffany Rogers.
Is married to Michael Reed?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Tiffany is Cheryl Rogers' daughter.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And they were that was in 2009, correct?
2009.
I think if we did our math right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So those two students came to you with the idea to do something to help. And that was part of the Drug Free Players group back then. Okay. Yep. And since that time, the SAD group, Students Against Destructive Decisions, correct?
Yep.
That group has kind of taken up the mantle. So can you kind of walk us through? I know that there was an evolution of, you and I have talked about this, but like when we first started doing it, we were kind of giving to different organizations. And then now we've kind of narrowed the focus down to community members and really try to focus on people that live near us, that are part of the Niles, Southwest Michigan area community. Can you kind of talk about the evolution of that and how kind of where it started and where it is now?
Yeah. What we did, we just went to the national organizations and we sent it. But then it started reaching a lot of more students and staff close to home, having friends, family members, even some of our staff members have cancer. So we've kind of expanded not just breast cancer, but just different types of cancer. So in the last couple of years, we've helped with gift cards and, to food places. If they're going to chemo, they're tired. They don't want to go home and cook. Right. So things like that. And we also give to Hope Grows and the Brian Parker Foundation, that are local organizations that give back to our local families. They help with, transportation. They possibly can help with bills if they need that. They do the Live Strong program at the YMCA. So there's such a broad, vast of activities and events that they hold too, and then we just contribute to them. And it all stays local.
And those organizations, those things give to people around here.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
They stay
That's
local
awesome.
in our area, and so it's helping our own. So
then that's awesome. So it actually is benefiting. And I know this year in particular, and we're going to talk about ways they can get involved, but so we'll talk more specifically. Yep. But this year we are raising funds that we know that it's going to go to some individuals in our community that are battling cancer. So when you were talking about just that evolution process, along with just raising funds, what are some things like that you guys have learned to include? Like I'm kind of thinking about the walk. Can you kind of talk about some of the things that maybe people who they're not part of Niles High School anymore, so they don't know some of the things we do all week long. So can maybe you talk about like what we're going to be doing this week to kind of participate so that kids can kind of engage with it?
Yep. Every week we're going to have a daily announcement, a fact. We're encouraging them to go home and talk to their family members about getting screens. We're also doing, different ways to raise funds. We're having a bake sale that starts tomorrow. We sell pink bracelets and beads and I don't know, tattoos. There's a whole bunch of different things that we sell to raise money, but we also want to raise awareness too. And so by doing posters in the hallway, getting the kids out on Friday, they pay $1, which all money goes to the fund. They are going to walk around the track, just kind of support. Last year we did the walk, and it was for one of our teachers, Miss Klimek, and it was huge. And that kind of struck a lot of kids because they have her or they know her. And so we brought a lot of people in, and just getting them aware that it is all over, and we need to be conscientious about not just knowing those people, but supporting them through their fight.
Right. And I know, like, with our Nilly News video announcements last week, we aired Mrs. Asmus's story, and she talked about how when she was going through her battle and going through chemotherapy and radiation and stuff like that, like how you showed up at her doorstep with all these gifts and gift cards and stuff, and she said it was so beneficial because sometimes she just didn't feel like making a dinner that night, or she did, and maybe the family were exhausted, and those little kind gestures from the community just relieved some of the other things that everyday life kind of throws at us. And so I know it has benefited her. I know it has benefited Mrs. Klimek, and it's countless other people here. One of the things you guys do, and I don't know if you're doing it this year, but I know that we have been targeted by this.
The flocking.
Is the flocking.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know, you might get a bunch of pink flamingos in your yard, and then you have to pay X amount of dollars. Can you kind of talk about how the flocking works?
Oh, the flocking, yes.
Yeah. Because we came home and we're like, what is going on right now? So
the ring has taken a little bit out of the fun of the kids doing this, but the kids will get the flamingos and they just randomly go and plant them in either staff members or community members' yards. And it's kind of fun because they already have it plotted out who they want to flock.
So they know
they know.
Okay. All right.
So they go and they put these flamingos in the yard, and then the next day somebody will go around and pick them up and we'll flock somebody else. Again, that's just a way that the community is like, okay, what's going on? And
because you see a bunch of pink flamingos in people's yards, and they're like, what's going on? And it does kind of it makes you wonder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
absolutely.
so there's a big sign that says you've been flocked and everything.
Oh, okay. So. All right. Do you remember how you came up with that? Was that a kid, or did you see that somewhere?
No, actually, I just saw it, and, just a Pinterest type thing. And I'm like, oh, that would be fun. And then the kids ran with it. That's one of their favorites.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Chase Brawley, but somebody put it in my yard, and they were having a really good time with that.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but I remember last year we had the walk, and we hadn't had that in a couple of years because of COVID and stuff like that. When the kids are walking this year, you kind of said, so like last year I played some music and stuff like that, but it's a way for the kids to get out and participate. Have you ever had any kids, maybe not during the walk, but just in general, who have maybe shared their story about their grandma or their mom or their aunt or whoever it is? And how has that kind of impacted you? Do you recall any kids kind of talking about Pink Week in general, just in how it's affected them?
Yeah, actually, I had a couple years ago a student join SAD because of, we do Pink Week. That's awesome. And just some of the stories I've heard, and it's from adults too, that just the impact, just the awareness, getting the community, like where we started just at the high school and now, expands to the football game and goes to the Mad Dash for Cash, the flocking, Pink Day at Niles, community schools on Friday, just trying to get them involved. And so now I'm hearing stories from students and adults, just that it's one of those things that we get such a bad rap for like high school kids and kids in general.
Yep. And
it's just their time to just kind of shine and just say, we're here to help. We're here to support people.
Right.
And the kids come and they talk about that. They talk about how my, aunt, I had that last year, my aunt's fighting breast cancer. Can I get some bracelets, or can we get a shirt for them? And just because they want to show their support too, but sometimes kids just don't know how to.
Yeah.
And that's a tangible way for them to do that.
Yeah. And I know you just talked about one of the things that that we do at the football game now. Well, by the way, this Friday the football team is home. We want everybody to wear pink. We're playing Plainwell that night. Our volleyball team is also home. That's on Thursday. Are we going to be doing anything at the volleyball game? Do we know yet?
Well, we may be doing something because now
it's senior night too,
yes,
though. Yeah.
Yep. And our middle school, our freshmen, and our varsity football teams are home on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, along with our volleyball.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of different things, and we just realized that. So we're going to try to somehow somehow spread ourselves.
If you're
really
going
thin.
to a Niles athletic event, wear pink. Okay, but then for sure at the Friday football game, what are some of the things that maybe community members, how they can participate at the football game other than just wearing pink?
Yep. So definitely wear your pink. We will have glow sticks, beads, thunder sticks to make some noise in those stands.
The little bang, 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 bang. Yep.
So
okay.
we have those, and all the proceeds go to the Pink Week Fund as a donation. And then we'll have the Mad Dash for Cash.
What's the Mad Dash for Cash for somebody who's never experienced that before?
Mad Dash for Cash. So it's between the first and second quarters.
Okay.
And it's for 2 minutes. And we chose 2 minutes because on average, about every 2 minutes, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer in the United States. So for 2 minutes, we have students run around the stands with big 5-gallon buckets, and we just try to collect as much money as we possibly can in that 2 minutes. And yeah, so it's kind of fun. All of a sudden, the bucket will be leaving, and my kids will be frantic because the bucket has left them.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay, it's coming back. So, but yeah, so that's definitely a way the community can get involved in supporting this cause.
Okay. And let me ask you this. What if somebody cannot make it to the game Friday, but they want to participate? Is there any way that they can contact you, or is there a way that maybe they could donate? If they're like, hey, I don't live in Niles anymore, but I'm a Viking alumni and I happen to see this, I'd love to give. Is there any way they could do that?
Yep, there sure is. They can either email me here at the high school, carissa.young@nileschools.org. They can give us a call at the high school, or they can do our Venmo, and we're using at NHS-hospitality for our Venmo this week.
At NHS-hospitality is the Venmo. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Young. Before we let you go, is there anything that you want to say to the audience that maybe we didn't cover? Is there any topic or anything that maybe a final message to the audience?
I just come out to the games this week, support the Vikings, and support cancer awareness this week.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Once again, this week there's a ton happening at Niles High School. So Wednesday, who's home?
Middle school.
Middle school. Football is home.
Yes.
Thursday is volleyball senior night, and also JV and freshman.
Nope, just freshmen.
Freshman football. And then Friday varsity football. Yeah. So there's a lot. There's a lot going on this week at Niles High School. So if you want to participate, if you want to give, or if you just want to support, maybe you can repost this video, whatever it is, or send this podcast. Once again, we appreciate all the support, and we want to give a personal thank you to you, because she will never take credit for this, but she worked really, really hard. Right? We had professional development today, and she's in her room sorting shirts after that's over, because there's just a lot that goes on. So we want to thank you, Mrs. Young, for your effort here, your service to the Niles community, and for our kids, and for just all the people who are battling cancer. We appreciate you. So once again, thank you. And please share this video, and go Vikes.
Go Vikes.
Break.
All right.